Oba Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD. The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
ITV, certainly the best.
Christmas to all our viewers and listeners across the world. Welcome to our special edition of the show, Politics Today, on independent television and radio. And I'm your host, the most sunny Duke Okosun. Hope you had a great Christmas celebration. It's beyond eating rice, it's beyond the stew and the chicken and all of this fun. It's about Christ. And even if you didn't have all the resources to celebrate as much as you want to, or perhaps buy the clothes, buy the shoes, and all of those lovely things, the most important thing is the gift of life. If you're alive to celebrate 2025 Christmas, that's the biggest celebration. So welcome on board the show. I also want to thank you especially for staying with us all the way from January till now. This is about the last episode of the show, Politics Today, on independent television and radio for the year 2025. Certainly when we'll be meeting next, it will be in the new year 2026, God willing. Welcome aboard the show. Well, so much talking point on the program for today, but let's quickly look at some of the stories that dominated national discourse or perhaps international discourse in the last 48 hours, beginning with the strike by the United States on terrorist enclaves in Nigeria, specifically in Tangier local government area in Sokoto State. And in relation to that, the federal government has confirmed ongoing security and intelligence cooperation between Nigeria and the United States following airstrikes that hit terrorist targets in Nigeria's northwest. This has led to precision hits on terrorist targets in Nigeria by airstrikes in the northwest. In a statement issued on Friday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, signed by spokesperson Kimebi Bienfa, said Nigerian authorities remain engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States of America, to address terrorism and violent extremism in the country. The ministry said the collaboration, which led to precision airstrikes on terrorist targets, involves intelligence sharing, strategic coordination, and other forms of support in line with international law and respect for Nigeria's sovereignty and shared security commitments. That's our major focus on today's program on Politics Today on independent television and radio. But let's quickly take a look at other stories. The People's Democratic Party has criticized the federal government for allowing the United States to disclose details of terror strikes carried out on Nigerian soil by the Nigerian authorities, addressed the nation, describing the development as a disturbing failure of security, communication, and national leadership. In a statement issued on Friday, the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Ini Emebong, observed that the federal government's delayed reaction forced Nigerians to depend on foreign sources for updates on critical security operations taking place within their own territory. All right, and now let's look at more stories in the world of politics. The All Progressives Congress, APC, in Ebonyi State has announced that its primaries for the forthcoming local government and councillorship elections will be held on January 25, 2026. The announcement was made by the state chairman of the party, Stanley Emega, on Monday during a briefing with journalists in Abakaliki following a state executive council meeting. Emega advised political appointees intending to contest the elections to comply with Governor Francis Nwiforo's directive to resign before the primaries. And now moving on, 6 members of the Zamfara State House of Assembly have defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC, citing deep internal crises within the PDP and what they described as poor governance in the state. The lawmakers announced their decision on Thursday through separate letters addressed to the Speaker of the House. Those who defected are Bashar Aliyu Gumi in Gumi 1 constituency, Nasiru Abdullahi Maru North, and Bashir Abubakar Masama Bukuyum North, Bashir Bello Bugundu West, Amiru Ahmad Keta Safe West, and Mukhtar Nasiru Kara from Kara North. That's some of the stories we're following at this time on the program today, Politics Today, on independent television and radio. We will take a short break. When we return, we'll meet our guest analyst, who is a global affairs analyst, joining us from the UK, Chief Daniel Matthew Akwemoha, in just a moment, as we look at the reactions that have trailed the U.S. strike on terrorist enclave in Nigeria. And one man who has been very outspoken on this issue is Sheikh Gumi, and he's been receiving a lot of bashing and criticism because of some of the things that he has said. And we'll be talking more on this when we return after this break. Please stay with us on Politics Today on independent television and radio. Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. Let's begin our conversation by setting the tempo and the foundation for this discourse on U.S. strike on ISIS targets in Nigeria on Christmas Day. This came from President Donald Trump, who said that the U.S. launched powerful and deadly strike against Islamic State forces in Nigeria after spending weeks accusing the West African country's government of failing to rein in the persecution of Christians. Trump said tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries. Mr. Trump wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social, I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there will be hell to pay, and tonight there was. Mr. Trump did not provide further details on the strikes, such as how many people were killed, who or what was specifically targeted, or how many strikes were carried out, rather than to say there were numerous perfect strikes. U.S. African Command, which oversees U.S. military operations in Africa, said in a statement that its initial assessment is that multiple ISIS terrorists were killed in the ISIS camps. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth posted on X, the president was clear that last month the killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. The Department of War is always ready, so ISIS found out tonight on Christmas. More to come. Grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. And in reacting to this, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugai, came out to say this was a collaboration, a cooperation between Nigeria and the U.S., that he spoke with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to get clarification and approval, and it was given. And he also went ahead to say that to a large extent, the narrative being presented by the U.S. government is a bit twisted. The strike was against terrorists, and it wasn't based on the initial claims by U.S. and President Trump that there was genocide against Christians in Nigeria. Well, you know, in recent time, this has been a major talking point. Now, it has finally happened, and we're seeing reactions from the left, from the right. And one man who has been very vocal is Sheikh Gumi, who is saying that U.S. doesn't have a moral right to carry out such an action, saying countries that are qualified to carry out such actions include China, I think Pakistan, saying these countries, they have clean hands. The U.S. has no moral ground because it doesn't have a clean hand. That U.S. has been involved in terrorist activities itself, and so it doesn't have a moral ground to be involved in this. And this has attracted a lot of reaction. But let's quickly meet our guest for today's program. Chief Daniel Matthew Akomoha is joining us from the UK, Global Affairs Analyst, Chieftain of the Labour Party, and Public Affairs Commentator. Thank you so much, Chief, for creating the time. And once again, Merry Christmas, and thank you for joining us on this special broadcast of Politics Today on ITV and radio.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always been a privilege and honor. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we saw the news. The news came out, on Christmas Day, and it was like, could it be true? People were raising questions around it. But this is one thing that President Donald Trump is known for. He doesn't just make a threat. He goes ahead to match words with action. But what do you make of the reaction that is trailing this action, this strike taken by the U.S. against terrorists in Nigeria, against the background of some of the reactions that we've seen trailing it?
First of all, I want to commend the action taken, regardless how we view it. Either the reality of it or the propaganda that follows. So for me, first of all, I want to thank the American president for the attempt to even call the attention. And since President Donald Trump have called the Nigerian attention to it, we've seen some actions on the Nigerian government part to at least attempt to do something. That is where he ends, just an attempt to do something, not really actually doing anything. We still have the Minister of State, who is a confirmed terrorist sponsor in his position. We still have Ribadu, who is the head of the agency, out of which 11 people came out of to try to commit a coup. We still have an inefficient system that's rewarding people who have Gomez to going around still freely promoting, speaking on behalf of terrorists. So, and then again, when we look at the damage supposed to have caused by this bomb, or the coordinates given to them, the question is, why Sokoto? Why Sokoto, where it's almost 99% Muslim? Why Sokoto, where the places that were targeted, there are no fatality? They were bombing empty space, a farm that is onion farms, that's where the bomb, and some other miscrammed place where there is no significant value to. So what is the purpose of this target? Who are they going after in Sokoto? That's a question that we must be asking rather than just taking on the face value. Who are those? If they go for Shaitan of Sokoto, who is the head of the Adran, we're like, okay, there's a reason why they're bombing Sokoto. But who are those in Sokoto where they're going for? Which headquarters have they bombed? Which property or business or what? Oh, who is the primary target that bombed? This is a propaganda of nothingness. This is a propaganda by the American president, who is poll number is flaying and is trying to get the Christian right to support him. This is a proper APC propaganda of nothingness to pretend as if they're trying to do something. And the fact that the Foreign Affairs Minister said they work in connection with the American government and give them the coordinate. The coordinate of Southwest, when we know majority of the terrorists are in the Northeast, the Zambeza, the Zambia, in Borno, in Kebbi, and all whatnot. Why bomb Sokoto? Although Sokoto share a borderline with Mali and Nigeria, but still, the place of action is not Sokoto. Why bomb Sokoto? I mean, people might say, oh, it's an objective thing. They're going after where the base of or the organizer is. Fair enough. But who exactly is the target? Or what exactly is the target? Apart from the open field that is being bombed for propaganda's sake. Nigeria is not serious. Neither is President Tinubu genuinely serious about tackling these terrorism issues in Nigeria. I'm a supporter of Tinubu, and I'm a supporter. I'm still going to remain a supporter. Open Iran's and open Iran for second. I'm going to campaign for him. However, I'm not a blinded supporter. I'm not a supporter that lose my brain or my common sense or my intelligence to call out a BS when a BS is being thrown at us. Even just based on information online and news report, what are the fatality? Zero fatality as best to our knowledge. Boko Haram and the terrorists are actually doing more damage than this bomb did. An average cost of those, but I hope Nigeria is not paying for it. Those bombs worth about $1 million. Dropping $1 million of bomb on a on a vegetable field. For what purpose? For purpose of propaganda? In this case, Gumi is the least human being to side with. I side with Gumi on this, that this is a waste. And they have no moral ground to do this if it's just for propaganda and shenanigans to boost Donald Trump poll rating among the Christian right in America, or to make President Tinubu look credible as if he's genuinely fighting terrorism. If President Tinubu genuinely want to fight terrorism, if America really want to help Nigeria fight terrorism, there are some simple things they need to do. America need to America already declared about 10 people that the sponsor of terrorism. America need to freeze their asset all over the world, deport their children in any Western atmosphere back to Nigeria to go and mingle with their parents who were sponsoring terrorism. America need to put visa restriction on some of these politicians and some of these leaders who speak on their defense. America needs to issue, ICC needs to issue an arrest warrant on these people. Those are things that America can do apart from dropping bombs in places where there is just an onion field. And in Nigerian government also need to do the basic thing. Matawale, who is the Minister of State, needs to be fired. His predecessor already.
Let me pause you there, Chief Daniel Matthew Akwamoha, and perhaps look at an aspect of the conversation from some of the reports that have been coming in from residents on the ground. And I think one of the council chairmen talked about the fact that the strike did hit the terrorist enclave. And then you've asked the question, why Sokoto? There's also a report in that direction that terrorists were seen fleeing to neighboring countries of Niger and Chad. Don't you think that the reason for this strike was to make a bold statement to the terrorists? And that's if the strike didn't fulfill its purpose, why is someone like Sheikh Gumi reacting the way he's reacting, and some of the reaction that we have seen in the last couple of days? In any case, you started by commending President Donald Trump and the Nigerian government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for this initiative to put the terrorists in their place.
I commend them for the attempt, but we've gone beyond propaganda. This is a pure theater. It's just a performing act, what they've done. They've not actually gone to the art of the beast. Because if they really wanted to do this, Sheikh Gumi would complain about anything. Sheikh Gumi will complain about anything that seems to be going against the direction of the terrorists, because he is a terrorist. Sheikh Gumi is against state police. Sheikh Gumi is against the new appointment. Sheikh Gumi is openly saying we should not even fight terrorists. We should create a special budget for them. So Sheikh Gumi should be arrested. Sheikh Gumi, anybody who is claiming to be a spokesman for the terrorists should be arrested, should be part of those sponsoring terrorism. Now, the intention of going after the terrorists by Donald Trump is a noble thing, and we should commend that. But the theater and the make-believe and the propaganda that does not achieve anything apart from self-gratification for himself is something that we should be against. If they actually gone to try to bomb where the terrorists are, if they come to, this is me, I'm going to put it out there. If they're like, oh, we're going for the head of the Hydra, we're going to go for the Shaitan of Sokoto, and they bomb the palace, say, you know, you are the head of Islam, and we're bombing this simply because you're the head of these northern people. We're bombing you and trying to get rid of you to get off the head. I would say, okay, because you're going after the Shaitan of Sokoto. But that's
okay.
not
Now, Chief, we need to really focus on the discussion. You are not recommending President Donald Trump to order that, but what you are saying,
no, I'm not.
if, for example, that happens, you know, there's a definition of what the purpose is. But you're saying, in effect, that this bombing has no focus, no direction. You expecting the bombing to focus on places like Borno, Zamfara, Katsina, maybe Benue, and other places. But you are aware that the Nigerian armed forces is also on a, more or less like they are on an onslaught against terrorists. You saw recently Bello Turji, who is one of the most dreaded, notorious, wanted terrorists in Nigeria, coming out to, you know, request for peace and a safe landing. And the Nigerian armed forces said, look, there is no going back in this, you know, confrontational approach, kinetic approach to dealing with these guys. That's exactly the point you are making, I want to believe.
For peace negotiation talk because they're afraid America was coming to bomb his ass. He knew America was coming to bomb, so he was trying to make peace with Nigerian government to protect him. However, American government have now come, or President Trump have now come, they've done exactly what he wanted. They've gone and thrown a bomb in an onion farm. They've not gone after him. America is very good at doing targeted killing. From Osama bin Laden to this guy in Syria, how come in this case they are bombing open field?
So what evidence do you have that they bombed open field and not the terrorist enclave? Do you have the coordinates, or you are relying on what you saw on social media?
No,
those who carried out the action told you that they hit multiple targets and it was deadly strike, which means those strike actually hit the target with a casualty. We may not have the figures of those casualty, and you are seeing the reaction, for example, from the PDP saying that, criticizing them for releasing the information about the strike at all. And then you are saying they should release more information before you believe. What is your evidence that it was an onions farm that was struck by this strike? The African Command, the Department of War, and the U.S. President has come out to say this was a deadly strike, and there were multiple strikes, and they struck the targets that they wanted to hit. So how do you now justify your own position that it was an open field?
Financial Times is a credible journalist paper. They don't do propaganda. I would advise everybody to go and read it. They went on the ground, they take pictures, it's online, just Google Financial Times. They spoke to the local people there as well. That's one. If you go online, there's so many local people updating, uploading, also sharing the views. One of the major places they bomb is an onion field. Some of the locals said, oh, ISIS or the Boko Haram terrorists used to gather there, but that was like 2 years ago, not recently. They don't have any terrorists. The highest they have in Sokoto is bandits who are kidnapping Christians along the way, demanding money, not terrorists. So we need to separate that clearly. And secondly, in Sokoto, inside Sokoto, we know that the whole coordination for this terrorist movement is in Sokoto. We know that. And when unless we try to pretend that some of those things are not linked to the caliphate himself. Now, if you're to bomb
Okay,
places,
now, just a moment, Chief. I don't want us to make what you would call an illusion of casualty in trying to piece things together that we cannot authoritatively verify or confirm on this
Okay.
program,
Can I
because this
clear
is
something?
a
Can I
global
clear
audience, so
something?
we don't send the wrong signal and make the wrong, put out the wrong information there. We don't misrepresent facts, and people try to have a misconception of the purpose of our conversation. Let's try and stay on course without trying to
I'm going to
make
make
insinuations
it a clear
and
declaration.
join issues together to avoid people misinterpreting the conversation today. But we'll take a short break. When we return, we will look deeper into this fight against terrorism. The federal government recently declared anyone caught in the act, in kidnappings and all of these, as terrorists. That's the general designation. Whether you are a bandit and all of that, you are a terrorist. Most especially if you are involved in kidnapping for ransom and all of those, deadly activities. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with you to talk more on the show. Don't forget, at about 10, our studio line will be open, so you can call and be part of the conversation. What's your take on U.S. response to the terrorist situation in Nigeria based on the threats issued by President Donald Trump, and also the reactions coming from the federal government giving holistic support to this action, and then interface that with the reaction coming from Sheikh Gumi on this issue? Stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We're still looking at the recent strike by President Donald Trump or the U.S. on Nigeria against terrorists. And this, of course, is in tandem with what President Donald Trump promised some few days back, which, of course, has come into full manifestation. There are concerns that unless and until perhaps the casualty figures come to the public space, there is that seeming tendency for people to believe that this is just a propaganda. That seems to be the point that you're making, Chief Daniel Matthew Akomokan. But it doesn't take away the fact that the promise made has been fulfilled, the proposed action has been taken, and it establishes the fact that the Nigerian government and the U.S. government officials are working together to ensure that the days of terrorism in Nigeria, the days are truly numbered. What do you make of some of these actions taken so far in terms of the results that we're seeing, and then the multiplier effect that we're going to see in the days to come? Do you think that this will have far-reaching implications in terms of whittling down terrorism activities? Because we've seen some of the debris fell in places like Ofa in Kwara State, and that has brought some of these conversations that, the bombing hit onion plantation or hit open spaces and stuff like that. I've seen a comment by an air officer, an army officer, saying when a bomb is shot, the fuel for the engine, once it is expended, it falls off, and then the bomb just propels to its target. But it's really possible that with the level of sophistication that the U.S. has gained in terms of war and all of that, they will go about some of these actions just for propaganda and hit empty spaces. And is it really possible, Chief Matthew?
Yes, it is. And evidence shows in the pudding. We have zero casualty up to date for the massive level of bombardment they claim to have used or done. We have open field with big pothole that they just circled around, and we have no follow through. The only person so far to date that's actually making an effort to fight this terrorism is the Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa. And it's the only person who said local indigents to defend themselves. It's the only person pushing for state police. All the majority of the northern leaders is against it. The terrorists is against it. Gomez against state police and the right for people to defend themselves. That's to tell you where the focus is. So for me, I support President Tinubu, and I'll keep supporting him, but I'm not a blinded supporter. I'm a rational supporter. But what I'm saying is this. If President Trump genuinely, I welcome President Trump intervention, because during Jonathan regime, Obama walked against Nigeria, refused to sell ammunition to Jonathan to fight terrorists. Then when they were just in one local government, and then all he wanted was regime change in Nigeria and to give to Buhari. Even after Buhari came in and Biden came in, they have the Leahy Convention that refused to sell ammunition to Buhari. At the same time, they're pushing the agenda of homosexuality on Nigeria. President Trump came, he bypassed that law, either in his own with the Leahy Dumps law, to sell some ammunitions to us. But this is where the rubber hit the road. It's not just propaganda we need at this crucial time. We need genuine support. And if Nigeria is giving them a coordinate, allegedly, that's what we said, then something is faulty with that coordinate. If they bomb in Sokoto, where we have no history of terrorism, then if America, as powerful as their intelligence could be, they cannot put two and two. We remember during the time of Jonathan, we knew what Nigerian officials were doing. Every time we had a special squad that was going to go rescue the Chibok girls and try to bomb these people. Every time they tell the Nigerian army, it's in the news, it's also on YouTube. The next day, the terrorists have moved away from there. So do we trust the Nigerian government giving the American the adequate coordinates to bomb, or the American government are not serious about doing this and they're going after propaganda to boost Donald Trump? Because the first thing Donald Trump said is defending Christian in Nigeria. And that was all, that is to meet his own Christian right. That is lacking behind in his support in America. That's not the benefit of us Nigerians. Because the terrorists is not just about Christian, they're killing Muslim too. I'll say 80% of those being killed in the north are Muslims. And that's a fact. So we need to be very serious about this. If they're going to be doing charade and propaganda, we don't want it. We don't want it. The average bomb cost about $1 million. That's over $2 billion to transform a whole area. I'm coming to Sheikh Gumi. Sheikh Gumi is a terrorist. If, for instance, Donald Trump have gone and target Sheikh Gumi right now and get rid of him, I would say fair enough.
All right, now, Chief, you can't make that sort of recommendation here, because one, the federal government has not described or categorized Sheikh Gumi as a terrorist. These are just your personal opinion, and it's not objective. All right, so let's try and stay on course. I wanted to take you on the point. I've heard even the likes of Sheikh Gumi making comparison between the Niger Delta militants, as it were, and the bandits who have now been designated as terrorists in terms of the demand. Is there any similarities or are there any differences if you want to look at these two planks as far as this issue of insecurity is concerned? Is there any justification for that sort of comparison in the first place?
There's no justification, there's no comparison, there's no similarity. Let us go back to Niger Delta people before coming. Niger Delta people are very geographically based, and they are very, very narrowly targeting. They were not ethnic cleansing. They were not attacking villages. They're not trying to take over villages, and they never kidnap anybody for ransom. They went after the oil company, and they tried to disrupt oil flow, because the oil company were polluting their waters and their land. And they demand clean production in their area. The way attacking villages, they're not spreading their jihadis across anywhere. And you didn't hear them raping, kidnapping school children, raping people, demanding fees. No, that did not happen. Sheikh Gumi, Boko Haram terrorist people, what is children in school, Catholic school, got to do with them? What is rape, kidnap, banditry, and demand of money? got to do with, compared to that with Niger Delta? Niger Delta was narrow, was a neat with clear purpose. What exactly is the purpose of these terrorists? Apart from one thing and one thing alone, to impose their own way of life across everywhere. Why are we having terrorism across every part of Nigeria? Why are we having terrorist action in Edo State? Did Niger Delta people go outside the Niger Delta area? Did they come as far as Lagos or Kwara or Jos or did they go as far as Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna? So we know Gome is a liar, and Gome is a liar, is a deceiver, is a master practice of takia that's in the Quran. And we know that of him. So we should not take Gome anything serious, but to call him what he is. Gome is a terrorist. Anyone who sympathizes with terrorists, anyone who speaks on their behalf, anyone who demands rights for them is a terrorist. So we should just not compare. It's very insulting to intelligence, and it's insulting to journalism that we even entertain such rubbish from a useless man called Gome.
All right, I don't want us to get personal, Chief Daniel Matthew. I want us to be civil in a language. I mean, you don't need to be dropping names and attacking personalities just the way you are doing. That's unacceptable. Let's be civil in our choice of words and focus on the issues and not attacking personalities, so we don't, create a wrong narrative and misconception of our conversation. We're looking at this semi-comparison. There's also another thing I'd like you to get a reaction. I've heard some very respected Nigerians, some global personalities, so to speak, the likes of Bishop Hassan Kuka, saying the bandits that we see today, they are also victims of the system called Nigeria, in terms of the deprivations, in terms of lack of access to education, in terms of the poor quality of life, and all of these issues. I want to get a reaction on that, because when you look at some of the videos that you have online coming from some of the leadership of these terrorists, they tell you that their means of livelihoods, they've been cut short because they can't rear their cows anymore. The routes that they normally would go through from one place to another in feeding their cows, they've all been built up, and in an attempt to get the authority to respond, they had to take laws into their hands, take on arms and ammunition, and in an attempt to protect their cows that are also being rustled, they are being killed by vigilantes and all of that. So let me get a reaction on this issue, or this narrative that the bandits that we are seeing today, they are victims of the social dislocation and the poor leadership structure that we have in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of the country.
The last part is the key word, the northern part of Nigeria. You understand? We have technology these days. Maybe 1 million years ago, when you can rear cow from places land to land, where vast land are not being occupied, makes sense. But today, since it changed, Kanai's word, and the country also needs to grow. They cannot expect what they used to do 100 years ago to carry on and say it's their way of life. There's a gentleman that have massive acres of land in the north growing rice. This cattle rearer went there and destroyed every aspect of this man's rice. Now, you cannot say your own way of life supersede my own way of life or existence. There's a gentleman that came from America that in one of your state or Ibadan state, one of those in the south, who have a massive farm. And these farmers went in there with their cows. He went to confront them and they slaughtered him like chicken. Most of the problem many of these people have is going to people's farm without any permission. And when they challenge them, they use their guns against them and kill these people. And say you have no right to challenge them because their way of life. You cannot use your own way of life to destroy somebody else's way of life. There is more modern way to do cattle rearing. Now, the key part you said in the North leadership have failed them on because they have the highest amount of allocation, they have the largest amount of representation, they also have the largest amount of power. During Buhari for 8 years, Buhari was giving this loan up to ₦1 billion for farming through the Sharia bank that not most of them have not even paid back, probably will not pay back. Where is the outcome? So the northern leaders have failed their own people because they've systematically kept them poor, kept them uneducated, kept them disengaged with reality of life in order to control them. The alternative is to push religion on them, not necessarily education. What is the whole essence of Boko Haram? It means they are against books. And some of the leaders say whoever fights Boko Haram is fighting Almighty Allah. So whoever fights somebody who is against knowledge, who are against wisdom, who are against intelligence, is fighting. I don't understand that. So not everything is the problem of the federal government. This is exclusive to the state and to the local government, exclusive to the state governors. So let's blame them. The state, Matama, the current minister of state, is the present governor said how he had a relationship with terrorists. The former Borno governor is now they blame each other. The former Borno governor who Bua was his name, who people said he was the founder of Boko Haram. Those are their problem. Why we don't have that in Lagos State? Why we don't have that in Edo State? Every part of Nigeria, people are struggling. People's way of life are changing. But they're not going to committing harms, kidnapping, trying to impose religion or kidnapping people who does not believe in their ideology or their religion and trying to impose a different way of life on other people. We have to call a spade a spade. This is not an organic thing, but this is an organized thing. The purpose behind it is what we need to
let me pause you there because our studio line is open now. 080-7777-0300. Caller, you are first person on the show today. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Go ahead with your contribution. Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Ultima the Great. Please go ahead. The call is a bit distorted. I'm sure it's a network issue. Maybe you can call back again, Ultima the Great, so we can get your take on the conversation so far. Hello, good morning, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning. Yeah. All right, Dixon, go ahead.
Thank you very much, my other and the great man there from UK. You said all what you do. Nobody can blame anybody because of what you caused by yourself. Not Anna. Governors, ministers, local government, all of them, in the House of Reps, all of them have this problem within their jurisdiction. So they cannot carry problem from north now to come and destroy other people in their own state.
Okay.
When the man, Curie or others, were blaming or were at least presenting or comparing terrorists with Niger Delta agitation, cannot. The chief, Daniel, has said it all. The problem is that anyone that who me myself is supporting that is carrying gun or do any type of kidnapping and all these things should be considered as a terrorist. And I supported what Donald Trump did, and I supported what the federal government do to make sure that the whole terrorist should be flushed out. Each person should work his own work out. You cannot use your own cattle come and destroy. For example, in Ovia Southwest now, all our farms are being destroyed by these people. They call themselves S-men. They will enter farm and destroy it. They will enter farm and immediately we confront them. We always say that they pay to who? Maybe they will say they pay to Ojori or they pay to Okadu or they pay to Okadu. And so for that, they are continue doing these things. By the time we start, we now tell us that maybe we are just concentrating on them because they are from Natana. But no one of us in South, that is in South here, can go to their place and do such.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your contribution, Dixon. Our studio number is still 08077770300. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Go ahead with your contribution. The number is 08077770300. Good morning, caller. Let's know your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where you're calling us from?
Mr. Ono.
Honor, please go ahead.
From Abuja.
Go ahead, Mr. Honor. Go ahead.
Yes, this Gumi, if the government failed to, if the foreign government failed to get him, it means they bap the head halfway.
Gumi wasn't the target. President Trump hasn't told us that Gumi was the target, and the federal government that also supported and gave the go-ahead didn't tell us that Gumi was the target. The federal government has also not designated Sheikh Gumi as a terrorist, all right? Anyways, thanks for your contribution.
I've just said my own.
All right, thank you. Thank you. It's still Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Our studio number is 08077770300. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Please turn down the audio level on your TV or radio to remove the echo. Good morning.
Yes, I already done that.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Go ahead. Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm JB Dennis calling from the bank community.
JB Dennis, go ahead. I'm not a barrister. JB Dennis, please go ahead. Go ahead.
So, if you look at what America has done, it's a very good thing.
Okay.
Some people are saying Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. It's not terrorists are the devil. We, the sovereign nation, cannot help ourselves. We cannot do the something that is overwhelming us. And now the America coming. I also disagree with your guest that said that they threw the bomb into the onion farm. That's to discredit what America has done, which is not really good. At least we have seen something that everybody is commented. Even if you look at social media, we know how people are happy that Sokoto state that there are many scores that are gone, but nobody comes because tomato is onion farm. No, we have to commend the American government. I was thinking that they are just saying it the way they said due to they could not do anything. But this one, we can not practicalize what they have said.
Okay.
That's just my conclusion.
All right, JB Dennis, thank you for your contribution. 08077770300 is our studio number. Dial it right now, right away, before we close it on the show today and for this year, 2025. Good morning, caller. What's your name?
Yes, I'm the voice of the ordinary people.
Okay, go ahead. The president of the ordinary people. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What the man in the studio, your guest was talking, there's something he said I didn't agree with. He said 80% of those people killed in the north are Muslims. I don't agree with him.
Okay.
The reason is that out of Benue, I have neighbors that came from Benue in my street here. Most of their communities, their villages have been sacked by these headsmen, killer headsmen, by these Islamic people. Many of them have been killed, even in Jos. And after Kaduna, many of them have been killed. And these people that have been killed have been Christians. So God has sent Donald Trump to help Nigeria. I'm saying it because me and many other Christians have been praying for God to send helpers, just like the children of Israel in the oppression in the heart of Egypt. So God has sent this man because there are many American presidents, all of them that have ruled. None of them were able to come to the rescue of Nigeria.
Okay.
Now, he said about the seed was bombed. Maybe they must have been misled by these Nigerians, by these militants, because there are some of them inside the army. They must have misled the Americans to go and bomb those places. So we are begging the Americans to be very cautious of the information they get from some of the people in the military, because we know Buhari placed many Boko Haram people there. So
okay, there's no evidence to that, but that's okay. Thank you. Well, as we call it a wrap, I want to leave you with this message. For years, we kept asking why terrorism refused to die, why bandits multiplied like bacteria, why soldiers are ambushed with frightening dimension, why communities mourn every week. Now the truth is gradually leaking out. Top terrorism suspects didn't just have financiers, they were allegedly linked to some of the most powerful in Nigeria former officials, ex-army generals, political godfathers, and economic giants. But here is the real tragedy. These financiers didn't only just fund terror. They allegedly smuggled their boys into the security agencies. Yes, terrorists wearing uniforms, terrorists receiving government salaries, terrorists guarding barracks, checkpoints, and even armories. This is how the infiltration happened. Create fake identity for selected recruits, secure their entry through compromised officials, position them in strategic units, intelligence, logistics, and operations, leak sensitive information back to their commanders, sabotage real soldiers from within. And all of a sudden, the impossible became possible. Terrorists know military movements even before military moved. Barracks were attacked with precision. Weapons trucks mysteriously disappeared. Operations failed woefully before they even started. Terror suspects get protection from the top. This wasn't incompetence. This was infiltration. This was made an insider job. Nigeria, if this is true, our fight is not only against terrorists in the forest, it's more against terrorists wearing uniforms and receiving government protection. Until and unless we sanitize the system, until every infiltrator is flushed out, until all financiers are exposed openly and prosecuted publicly, security in Nigeria will continue to remain a theater of blood. Yoruba land, Igbo land, Hausa land, Middle Belt, no region is safe when betrayal sits inside the barracks and wears army uniforms. That's my take out on the show today. Let me say big thanks to Chief Daniel Matthew Akwamaha for joining this conversation. Chief, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a great privilege and honor. And I want to use this opportunity to wish all Nigerians and Edo-Light Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Look forward to seeing you in the new year. God bless.
Thank you. That's our package for today on the program Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Big thanks to all our crew members and big thanks to you for staying with us, watching all the way. Merry Christmas once again and Happy New Year in advance. See you in 2026. Bye for now.